So, it's Saturday morning. It's a little after 8. We're a little late getting going today. It was my fault, but you know what? It's a Saturday morning. I know I got 3 horses to train in the race bike. I got some babies to go with. I made a long video last night, and I talked for like 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes about Stay Charming and how impressed I was with him yesterday. Just because it always makes me feel good that you get a horse that's just this super raw piece of clay, and then within 2 days, most times the day of, but with this guy it was a little different. Within a couple of days, I built somewhat of a rapport where I can go with the horse and jog him, and he looks like that. And I always like that. So we have some horses to go with today. Our boy History goes today. I told everybody about the little bridle change on History. I just want to. Oh, he's got to go tonight unless his temperature's high in the morning. He had a little bit of snot in his nose and a slight temperature yesterday, but I don't want him stewing in the stall if at all possible. So
did he run off at all? Did he even?
Never even offered to look. Nope, never offered to even look at the gate.
Why was he galloping every time we were over there?
He's something would spook him or something. He'd take off, just playing and galloping. I just let him do it. I mean, he doesn't have a mean bone in his body, so he's not going to do anything. A lot of the times when the horses, when you let them take off in the gallop, a few things can happen with babies. The first thing is they can kick a little bit and really be uncontrollable. You don't really want that. It's a little dangerous. The second thing that can happen is they can literally just start kicking, which is equally dangerous. And the third thing is they're just playing, right? The horses are just playing around, having a good time, and you have to be able to differentiate between the three.
I'd rather one kick than one not steer.
Well, a horse that's on the run and that's hard to steer is one of the most dangerous horses, right? And the most dangerous kind of horse are the ones that are scared doing it. You're going to get hurt. A lot of times somebody's going to get hurt when that's taking place. And we've been lucky. I thought, that's what I said to you yesterday with that guy. I waited until everybody was kind of off the track because I thought there was a chance that he might take off. And you think you're scared in the race bike. Now, I'm in the jog cart. I'm really not because I've done it a million times. But, you have someone down third line and that horse does that. Ooh, hello. I remember the one time it happened when James was on the third line and a horse took off at Campbellville, and I grabbed the third line and I shoved him off the jog cart because if the horse ends up hitting something or going over a bank at Campbellville at that time, I'm going to get hurt. But the guy in the third line, he might get really messed up. So, so that's how that took place.
Do you remember when you were on for this?
I remember everything.
I was on the jog cart with, might have been Chris Rogers with Unbeatable Camp. And I was third line.
And I remember your foot getting in the spoke. Yeah, that happened to Mark when we were kids.
He was gone.
Yeah, well, it scares them. So when you're a third line, you're sitting on the side of the jog cart. Well, you got to be careful where you put your hands because you can't ever put your hands where you think you should hold the jog cart because that's where the horse kicks. That's where they would kick and break your hand, and I've seen it happen. So you got to kind of hold the side of the jog cart, and then you got to put your foot down where the fork is. Well, that's where the spokes of the wheels are, and sometimes you'll slip. And if you're wearing shoes,
I was wearing
yes,
and ripped the heel right off.
And then it can get caught in there, and obviously the noise of that will terrify a horse, and they'll take off. So you got to be very, very careful. When Mark and I were kids, I might have been 14 and Mark was 12, and he had flip flops on, and got the flip flop, and it ripped his heel open.
That happened to Phil Ludon's.
That's the exact same thing happened to her. Happened to Mark
nasty.
When Mark was a kid. The exact same thing happened to him, and it's just there's so many ways we forget about. These are horses, and there's so many ways to get hurt. And when it comes to a horse like Stay Charming, the reason somebody said why wouldn't you just take a couple of third liners? We could, but if he's going to be nasty, he's going to be nasty. I just felt that the horse was okay. He might take off a little bit, but with nobody on the track and such a wide track, I think I could reason with him before he got himself in any sort of danger. And I never had to worry about it. The horse was perfect when he went on the track, and I again, that's why I mentioned it a couple of times. I was just happy with the way that the horses progressed in such a very short period of time, and things like that always stick out in my mind. So it's Saturday morning. As I said, we could have been there maybe an hour ago, but Amy wanted to get up earlier and go. It's just a beautiful morning. I'm going to take my time, relax. Went over to Starbucks. I went in there and the counter's full of cups, right? And for those of you who order Starbucks, you always have to look when you're mobile ordering to see how far, especially how far away you are and how far the drinks are, right? Or how far it takes, how long it's going to take you to get there and how long it's going to take for the drinks. It'll say estimated time. Today it's at 11 to 15 minutes, which is excessive. But at the same time, I was a 5-minute drive away. I just took my time at the house and then got over there. And as I got there, the young lady, she's always working there on the weekdays in the morning. She must have been working there today, obviously. And I walked in, she goes, "Oh, here's your drink, Anthony." That's I guess that's a bit of a problem when they know who you are. And I want to think it's because I'm such a handsome person that I walk in and I go, "There's that good-looking Anthony guy. I'm going to give him this drink." You think that's what it is?
No.
No. At all? As long as it's not the other side, like, "Oh my God, this is freak over here."
I feel like they are very attentive to their regular customers, and that's.
I believe
there's Starbucks employees.
I'm gonna go with the first one, but yeah, I mean that could be it too. Could be.
The lady in Macedonia recognized me. I haven't been in there in months.
Oh, she said hi to you yesterday.
So
the other day when we were going, so I paid attention. It was whatever that Red Cup day was.
Yeah.
And I pulled it up on, now it's a school day. I pulled it up on Brunswick. It said 20 plus minutes. I've never seen that before. So I'm like, oh, good catch. Because 3 times in the last month I've had to call the Starbucks number to tell them to cancel my order because I don't have time to wait the time frame that they had outlined. I looked at the Macedonia one. It also said 20 plus minutes, but I'm 22-minute drive. So we ended up going to Macedonia. I walk in and the lady you're speaking of, she goes, "Hi, Anthony." She goes, "Where's Amy at?" I said, Amy's, she's got these drinks she's drinking right now, and she's taking a break. She's taking a break from Starbucks. No!
I got a tea there. I got it was a passion fruit iced something. 5 calories.
How many calories in this? I meant to ask you.
400.
400? And how many? But I'm allowed 3,000 a day, right?
No. We went over this.
I thought you said 3,100.
2,000 will maintain your weight. Less than that, you'll lose weight.
So I have grapes. Yesterday, I only ate Chinese food.
I'm allowed 3,000. Yeah, if you're like going
to
the gym, you're allowed 3,000.
Well, I mean, I'm a very active person. I had like 7 drives yesterday. Anyway, so I'm allowed 2,000 calories if I just do nothing.
That would keep you at your current weight.
Well, by the way, a little update. I was super ecstatic. 2 days ago, I was down to 187.9, but I never ate anything, never drank anything the whole day. I had a Starbucks, whatever, but
not healthy. But anyways,
it's just what? Here's the thing. I get a kick at it. I was talking to a buddy of mine.
This video is really useless.
No, it's not. I was talking to a buddy of mine a few weeks ago, and he goes, "Oh, I'm on that purge diet." I said, "The purge diet?" "Yeah, whatever he goes, "Purge? You just don't eat for 3 days." I said, "That's a starvation." He said, "You drink water," and he had something else, but
it's a cleanse.
Yeah, something. Well, you're just starving yourself.
Pretty much.
Yeah, not pretty much. That's what it is. It's okay now. They have a cool name on it.
Or fasting.
Fasting. Intermittent fasting. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah. You have to eat healthier, or just starve yourself completely and put a cool name on it.
That is what that is.
Anyway, I'm getting older, but it's still, my body still works the same for the most part. I'll get up after Harrisburg. I find Harrisburg's worse than Lexington. Must be the walking. Do you think?
It should be better.
Because when I came back from Lexington, the food.
The amount of laps you had me do at Harrisburg, I don't think I've ever walked that much.
Well, we had a lot of stuff to cover. That's the one thing. I try to go easy in life, but when it comes to the babies, the realization sinks into me every year that I am painting the canvas of 2026 when we go to the sales, and it is a stressful time for me because I'm always, especially when I bought State Charm, perfect example. You had looked at me and said, "We don't need this horse." Yes, but when I have him priced a lot higher than he's going.
Yes, but I get that. I do. I understand your logic there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the same thing I just said to you when I ask you to pick up granola bars at the grocery store and you buy 4 different packs of 60.
Because my understanding is we have children, they will eventually eat them all.
But you're like, oh, these were 2 for or 3 for 1. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, but we don't need that.
No, but we don't need it. But we have a pantry. We can put. God forbid we put 6 or 7 extra granola bars in it.
Sure, the pantry. But our situation here is like, oh, we don't have enough stalls because
you know what?
Not too many.
We have stalls because when we bring more, if we fill up, we can send some more over to Ontario. That's what we have them for there. That's what they're still there for. That's why everybody works together. I mean, we do have the ability. Listen, at one time in, I don't know what year it was, do you not remember we had like 173 horses?
I don't want to remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we get to 173, but I think we've done a good job facilitating. I meant to buy a horse yesterday. I dropped the ball on one horse, and I was the underbidder on the other one.
Can you get Jason a black coffee?
Jason who? Since when has he asked for a black?
He said, did you guys go to Starbucks yet?
Well, just order it up here, and we'll get it in Macedonia. Anyway, your granola bar story is ridiculous, and it does not pertain to the horses. When it comes to, but what I was talking about, the 2026 canvas, what I'm talking about is the horses. What horses are going to be useful? Do we need another Pennsylvania Pacer? No, but when I have a horse priced at a lot higher than what he's about to go for, I have to ask myself, is this worth us doing? Now, of course, I can go through the sale and look at a number of horses that fit that same criteria. And again, I do. But I have to ask myself before you pull that trigger, before you put your hand up and bid, is this a horse that could potentially help the stable in 2026? The answer is yes, then I do what I can. You know, I'll move heaven and earth to see if we can get it done. Anyway, it is Saturday. We're on our way in. 12 minutes of talking about calories. How many calories in this one, by the way? 100. So I have 4 times as many calories. Now, do I get more calories?
I also have 25 grams of protein in this.
How many in this one?
0. So protein makes you full, so that you don't eat as frequently. That's why when you're eating, you have to eat a lot of protein because it fills you up, and then you're not full, and then you don't overeat.
See, okay. All I care about is that I come home from Harrisburg at 191. I'm down to 188.1, a solid 188.1 on my way back down to 185, 186. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm heading. It's delicious. The lady at Starbucks is devastated.
Want to try mine?
No, I've tried it. It's wonderful. I'm going to try mine. Now, last night we raced some horses. I had a message from Chris, my partner, about gorgeous package. Please bring her back south. Well, of course, I'm going to bring her back south. The issue we had with Gorgeous Package, and this is the problem I've talked about time and time again. And I was in Ontario last week, and I talked about it a little bit, is the inability to form and build any confidence that we can race horse. There should be a place to race Gorgeous Package. I'm happy to price her. We were forced to price her last night for an ungodly amount, like $80,000 or something, because there's no optional 30, optional 15. And then when you tag them in with aged horses, you know, although she does have a lot of money made, she shouldn't have to be forced to race against 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. There should be a way, there should be a 3-year-old 30 claimer fillies and mares. And somewhere out there, somebody's watching this saying, Anthony, that sounds great, there just isn't. Well, there is. The reality is we don't build them. We don't procure that class.
What are people doing with all their 3-year-olds?
Why not pick up the phone and call all the trainers? You know, here's a list of all the 3-year-olds, and there is a ton of them in Ontario. Pick up the phone and say, hey, trying to fill a 30 to 40, 30 to 35 3-year-old filly mare claimer. By the way, the allowance is 75%. Do you have a horse for this class? I would be very surprised if that class didn't fill very, very quickly. But instead, that will be Gorgeous Package's last start north of the border last night. She'll come over here now, thankfully. She fits an onwards to nothing now because she hasn't had much luck in Ontario. But, again, I have to find a class for her here. Likely Dayton, I guess. There might be like a cheaper class for a start at Northfield, maybe, or the Meadows. But there's nothing full-time at either place for her. It would have to be Dayton, I would imagine. So we'll bring her back and we'll race her here. But what you saw last night was not a horse that was bad. She just doesn't like any other horse. She doesn't like getting her head beat in. When they come out of the last turn, like Jason said that Jonathan said, she was loaded and he moved her over. Well, when they're pacing as fast or harder than you coming out of the turn, it will only take a few strides for you to say, I'm good. Thanks anyway. But if you start passing a couple of them, that's when you start seeing horses charging on the end of it. She's only as good as she can be. And the reality of the situation is, what's going on here?
I don't know, that guy looks bad.
You see that guy, that cop run up in behind the other one? That's weird. The reality of the situation is that it's the same thing. You got to put the horses in where they can do. It's not Jason's fault, and it's not even necessarily Mohawk's fault. I just would like to see a jurisdiction do a better job forming their classes. And I know that I talked to a race secretary the other day, and it almost seemed like he was a little put off that I said it. And the reality is that you can be put off, but the industry has changed. On one side, you have somebody posting a couple of weeks ago that there was too many yearlings being bred, too many yearlings being on the ground. And then on the other side of the fence, we talk about horse shortages and not being able to fill classes. So when does that gap get filled in?
But no, where are these three ones?
They're there. You just have to ask. It's the same as anything else. Everybody is, but what options do they have? We have options. We'll just put them on Doyle Transport and they'll be gone. Other people are like, well, I don't race in Ohio. I don't race in Pennsylvania. I don't race in these places. So I guess I just have to race my horse at 10-1 at Mohawk or 6-1 at, what are they, at London, Flamborough right now, where they race for nothing. That's what has to happen. And that's what happens next is they'll take a couple of starts of that, and then you know what they do next? They just sell their horse on gate. And then the question comes from the stakeholders of the industry, how do we combat our horses being sold on gate for American dollars? The exchange rate is killing us. No, it's not. The exchange rate is playing a role. But if you have the ability to race your horse consistently at Mohawk for good money every single week, you're not going to sell your horse. Yeah. Can you see the other account, the American one? Save me looking it up. No, those are credit cards, babe. Oh, yeah, good. Anyway, I don't want to keep harping on about this 18-minute video. You know what? At the end of the day, racing so-so this week. The babies were tremendous. I was very, very happy with what I saw from the babies. I'm excited. James told me he's back home now. He's going with the babies yesterday. He's going with the babies again today. So I asked him for an update on some of the horses. People are asking. People are also asking, when are we going to get another video? I don't see why we can't do one next week at some point. Show the horses going.
A few pacers in.
There's a few pacers in. I mean, the pace yet, who cares? It's not the end of the world. I mean, you can't expect them all just to go out and pace 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to take a little bit of time for some of those horses. And that's not new or indicative to our barn. That's everybody's barn. It's November. They don't have to be pacing perfectly right now. Do you know, I don't want to say who it is, but there's a very prominent trainer. Doesn't even put the hobbles on them until almost March.
March?
Yep. Yeah, and that's why it just goes back.
So you didn't train before March?
Us now? And when I say that, it goes back to what I've said. There's a million different ways to train a horse. And the person I'm talking about, a very, very good trainer. So, yeah, I just thought it was very weird. Everybody's just a little bit different. So we are, as I said, off to the barn. Sorry about the pantry talk and the calories. But you know what? It's Saturday water cooler stuff. Or coffee cooler stuff. Well, that's what it is. In regards to last night, I thought our two new horses, Woodmere Flojo, raced very impressively. I told Smitty, I texted him after, I think you're sandbagging us on Woodmere Flojo a little bit. That was like a 12 claimer. I said, if you want her gone, just enter her back in there for sure. They went 51-4, and she was a closing third, I believe, in 51-4.
She's like a big horse.
That's why she came up here. He said, I can never get her going because on a half-mile track, she just stops and starts in the turns, and she'll bump a knee a little bit. I thought she'd be better, but I didn't know how good. And I told him, well, listen, I have the same eyes as everybody else, but she certainly looked like she has a lot under the hood, and she's a very, very well-bred filly also. So really happy for Angie and Smitty and all their partners on Woodmere Flojo. It looks like she's going to fit in at Mohawk. As I said to Dominic, I just wouldn't expose her to a cheap claiming race next week. She looked like a very interesting proposal for a lot of people out there that maybe were looking to claim a horse like her. So the first thing I wouldn't do is put her back in that class. I think she can do anywhere as long as you put her in where it looks like she can do. Easier said than done, circling back to what I just said about Gorgeous Package. Now, the other filly, Lady Hess, she was a closing fourth, just beat for third. That was the race that Gorgeous Package was last or second last. And she raced very, very good. Now, James stayed left in the last turn, kind of wiggled his way out like James always does. I thought Jonathan had Gorgeous Package in a good spot. Only problem was, like I said, she's not that type of filly. There, if she hasn't passed a couple coming out of the last turn, she's just going to put it in neutral, right? That's just, I don't blame her. Most horses are like that. It just didn't work out for Gorgeous Package, which is fine. We'll just find a better class for her. There has to be one somewhere. Actually, now that we have kind of an inn down in the Dover area right now, and we always did with Jimmy anyway, but I'm wondering if there's like a 25 or 30 claimer. I would love to find a 25 or $30,000 straight claimer if I could. Especially 3-year-old one would be fantastic, but a straight claimer also might do for a horse like Gorgeous Package. So that's kind of what we're on the hunt for. We have a couple of horses that we want to keep, that we want to continue to find classes for, and when it comes to these particular horses, and you know who they are, Arrowhead right now, the gentleman had called me and said, I forgot how protective Dover was of their product and their trainers. They have to okay you to race there. You can't just enter your horse at Dover. You have to call the office and say, hey, is it okay if I enter this horse next week? And somebody has to physically okay.
Remember I had to get a license just to be there for 1 hour? When 3 Point was there?
When I was a kid, I went there with Mike McDonald, and Mike had a stable there in the winter. This is when we stopped. They stopped going to Windsor. Now Mike was going to Dover Downs in the wintertime. And you had to send them your roster that you were shipping into the area with, not to the track, just to the area with, and they would tell you which ones they would allow you to race there. And don't bother bringing the other ones. They're not okay. So Arrowhead Hanover didn't get in last week because they hadn't okayed him yet. So he figures he'll be okayed and ready to go by Monday, and we'll be able to race Arrowhead Hanover there. Now, is there a spot? Oh yeah, right. Yep. Is there a spot for Gorgie down there? I don't know, but I would love to find a spot. I don't want to get rid of the horses that I've chosen to keep. But we got to find spots to race them, right? And that goes for every horse. That's indicative of every horse. So that's what we'll endeavor to do this week. I thought the Gorgeous Package would be a good fit in Mohawk. I was wrong. We'll find a better spot for her, and hopefully we can have a horse. I know when we get Sparkling Volo back, he belongs at Mohawk too. I really like this horse, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with Sparkling Volo, but he probably should be over at Mohawk. So that would be the maiden trot, which at least I know consistently go. So he's out in the field now for a few weeks, and then we'll bring him back. Probably give him 3-4 weeks off. Chicago Hall is back now, but I'm not going to send him back to Ontario. We have a number of horses to look into. You can be sure, if we're sending the horse to Ontario, I'm at least confident that the horse will do immediately upon their arrival.
You've been shot out twice.
Well, the problem is that I sent horses that should have had classes to race in, but the classes didn't consistently go. In Gorgeous Package's instance, there were horses that the stake finals were going, so the classes were all screwed up, and then when everything settled, they didn't fill them again. So that's the problem that she get into, I
Don't they
believe.
usually have like a blizzard or like a winter?
Yeah, she got 200,000 Canadian made.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's no place for her to race. She's a claimer now, right? Or a middle condition filly if she can do. My belief is that she could be an open type filly at a place like Northfield or Dayton when she grows up into her 4-year-old body. That would be my belief. But it doesn't mean that I'm right. She may just be, as I said, a 25 or 30 claimer. But we have to be able to race her in consistent competitive classes until she gets to where we need her to be. So we'll go get Jason's coffee. Mm-hmm. So, as I said, Woodmere Flojo and Lady Hess raced fantastic last night. Really happy with them. They're obviously going to make immediate impacts, and I'm happy to hear that, because that was another one. When they sent those 3 fillies up from Prince Edward Island, expectations were very tempered. I mean, where would they do? What would they do? How would they do? I really thought there was a good chance that they would land over here, race at the Meadows, race at Dayton. But we do need racehorses in Ontario, so I'm glad they fit in that regard. Now, hopefully we can get some more horses. Listen, I'm not ragging on Ontario, because the problem with Ontario, it's tough. It's a tough place to race a horse. And it's just a horse where you have to be super specific. We need to have a horse for this class. The class has to go. We need to have a horse for this class. Class has to go. I mean, if the open pace wasn't filling at the Meadows and Time Is On My Side wasn't doing good at Dayton, he'd be in Ontario right now. I mean, we have horses, but the timing, right? The right time, the right horse, the right place. These things all have to mesh together. So the horses last night raced good. I was thoroughly pleased with Neptune yesterday afternoon, and then a little less pleased with 3 Point, but he's just in a funk, and part of that was my fault over the last 2 weeks. And then the only one that raced poorly was Captain Incredible. And as I said to Tim, we can't repeat that. There'll be no rinse and repeat there. I want to know what's going on with him, and I want to get it fixed. So that's where we're at with everyone in the barn from yesterday. Today, we have a big finale coming up for Perfect Thought, hopefully. That is a tough class. You never really know. You look at some of those fall stakes, and they're a little watered down. And I didn't watch the 3 Diamonds last year. I can tell you one thing, that is far from watered down. That is a tough crew of animals. So good luck to Scotty and Megan tonight, and all my partners with Perfect Thought. It should be, and hopefully is, a very interesting race. And then in regards to Time Is On My Side, just probably looking for a little bit. The one thing that surprised me a little bit about him, he doesn't get off the car well now. Like, he never did. I know somebody said, well, Anthony, you're up the quarter in 25-4 at Northfield. When he's on his toes and he's feeling good and he's really cocky and confident, you can blast him out of there. But when he's just in racehorse mode, he can get up there 27-1, 27-2, which is enough to get you away where I got away last week, 5th. I could have shoved through and filled the hole and probably got away 3rd, but I wanted to follow those 2 horses that had left from the outside, so I just dropped them in. That will likely be the scenario again tonight. I'll likely let him fall off the gate a little bit, get away 4th or 5th, be 2nd or 3rd over again, and hopefully an attacking position with a softening front end, and then I'm sure he will get, he will get the most he can get. So that is this week. That is today in a nutshell. Now we've covered what?
You're still talking?
Yeah, I'm finishing up the video. We've covered calories. We've covered Starbucks.
Can you leave my calories alone?
I think it's very admirable, because not a lot of people out there can just say, Starbucks, I've been drinking it for 3. When I met Amy, she'd never had a Starbucks. And I was a tea guy from Tim Hortons. But they opened a Starbucks right down the street from our house. And when I first started going there, I liked the London Fogs, right? And that was a tea latte. I still drink them from time to time, and I drank them all the time, and then Amy drank something, then drank something else, and then lo and behold, like a junkie, she was addicted. And it's admirable that you can just flip the switch and say, no more Starbucks, I'm going to drink these foolish coffee drinks. And so it's not me making fun of you, it's very admirable that you did that. For me, I honestly, I went 3 days this week without drinking Starbucks. I don't really care that much. It's just nice. I like to have something hot to drink in the morning. Came from my mother. I always had tea in the morning.
I don't know what I'm going to do
Because what?
I don't know if I can make this hot.
I'm sure you can make it hot. You just don't put ice in it and put it in the microwave.
I don't think it'll taste good.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you.
It's like a shake.
I don't know what to tell you. I can't really comment on that. So we're all done for the day talking for the most part. Maybe give you an update later on tonight on my way back from Dayton. But right now, excited, beautiful day. It is a dandy day. 55 degrees here. I'm going to train 3 horses in the race bike. I might give you an update on them maybe on the way home. Who do we have to go on the race bike? We have Go Boom. He had a little splint we got to get looked at. Oh no, he's just going 1.5 miles. I'm going to train. Why are you worried about him? He's been jogging all week. I'm going to train him in the bike next week, but I'm going to train 1.5 miles today. Who else do we have in the grid? Salzbrook Ian is another import from Prince Edward Island.
Who's that?
He's a nice horse. That's Salzburg Victor's brother. He was in Ontario with fellows last year, and Mr. Ronahan and his partners sent him here. He's probably going to race at Dayton. He doesn't get around a half as well, they said. So we're going to see how fast he can get around a half today, because I'm going to let him rock this morning. And then I have one more horse I was going to train, maybe Agent Black in the bike also. He's ready to go. It's always nice to give a horse the appropriate amount of time, and Agent Black's had more than enough time. Get over that virus, then we crowd that curb that was bothering him. There's another horse who will likely could possibly end up in Ontario. Which baby's got a curb? A little early for that. Yeah, just blister them for now.
I'm not blistering that horse until we get his other thing.
Oh, I just have to get I'm going to get him a set of boots with the hinge. I never did. I keep forgetting. You can wear a passion strip on that or something. Also, yes, if you want.
Actually, he was good yesterday.
Actually, if you want, there's a set of boots that we wear, a set of neoprene boots that we wear under Memento Mori's high trotting boots. Yeah. And they will work on that also. You can probably put a piece of fat wrap over them or something, but that's what they're built for also. Anyway, that's enough general talk for this morning. We have some horses to train, some babies to go with. You guys got lots to do, I'm sure, of your own today. Have a great weekend. I hope the weather is nice wherever you are as it is this morning. A beautiful day here in Ohio. Take care.